Well, with Columbia Open Studios this Saturday on April the 2nd and Sunday, April the 3rd, people can go to 70 artist studios in the city of Columbia and Richland County and Lexington County. So what they can do there is sort of see the creative process in action, if you like. It's sort of a look behind the scenes. They can talk to artists directly. They can see, how they produce their art. They can ask them about why and how they produce their art. They have sort of a direct contact with the artist. And of course, if they like what they see, they are certainly invited to buy some of the art. The exciting thing this year is that we have 70 artists participating. Last year we had 41, so it's really a big jump to 70. And I think that has created a lot of additional excitement. Some of the new artists are just really very interesting artists, and I think that a lot of people will be curious to see what those folks are doing. I'm sure that a lot of people want to go back to the artists they've seen in the last few years. People pick their favorites, they set their routes, and there'll be a lot to see. In 2008, though, we established 701 Center for Contemporary Art here in Columbia, and in 2010 or so, the Hospitality Tax Committee of the City of Columbia asked us whether we would be willing to organize open studios. Because it had been so successful, people thought, there was sort of people missed the event, and they thought that it needed to come back. So we were asked whether we would organize that, and we said we would do that. And so we started to do that, and this is the 6th year. The idea behind it really was that it is an event where you cannot just show off your artists, in the community, where you cannot just help artists to make sales, to connect directly with the public, but it also really educates the public about how art is made, what artists are doing, how many artists there are, what the variety of that is. And I really think that because of the success of the initial effort, the HTAX committee and therefore the city was eager to get it back. There are no tickets, it's a free event. I mean, there's no charge, people can just pick up themselves, their friends, their family, and get on the road. If you don't have a guide, we published a really nice sort of, an Open Studios guide which has maps in it, which has listings for all the artists, describes what they do, gives directions to their studios. If they don't have a guide, they can go to really just about any art place in town, like Vista Studios in the Vista and places like that, City Art in the Vista, and they can pick up a guide. But they can also take a copy of this week's Free Times, which has a guide inserted and has a centerfold with a lot of information on it. And once people will hit up the first studio they want to visit, there will be more guides there. So they're everywhere. It's just a matter of getting to the first studio or getting to an art establishment in the city and pick up one of the guides. I think this is going to be a breakthrough open studios. I think of all the 6 open studios that 701 has, 701 Center for Contemporary Art has organized. I think this is kind of the most exciting one, simply because we have a lot of artists, we have a lot of interesting artists. It's a nice spread throughout Lexington County, Richland County, and the city of Columbia, and people should just go out and have fun.
Open Studios is a wonderful experience for many reasons. This will be my 6th year as an Open Studios artist on the tour. And of course, we all want sales, and that's the #1 reason I keep doing it, I will be honest. But I've also met some really interesting people. I've met other artists on the tour. I've actually kind of barged in a little bit early to go see other artists' studios when I had the opportunity right before we began or right at the end of the day. And I encourage everyone to try to make an effort to see as many studios that they can. I'm a fine art painter here in Columbia, South Carolina, and specifically Forest Acres. And I am considered, I guess, a post-impressionist painter. I also do digital mixed media. So a bit about the preparation that goes into the studio is this year I'll have 2 studios. One has more modern art. It will have the phytoplankton view from under the microscope show that was traveling earlier this year, which is going to be special before it hits the road. So people will have their last opportunity in Columbia, South Carolina to view that body of work. And then in the first studio, I'll have a body of work of about 30 or 40 new paintings created specifically for Open Studios now in its 6th year. And those are more impressionistic landscapes, very peaceful paintings that people can come and see. The studio where I live is on Quinine Hill Lake in Columbia, so I have a beautiful setting that is a lot of the inspiration for my work. We have Canadian geese and turtles, and now is a beautiful time to come and see the lake in spring because everything is in full bloom, and I think that people will really get an idea of all of the colors that go into the paintings to make them what they are and how peaceful and exciting to me that they are.
I am a relatively new artist. My name's Jay White, and although I've kind of been playing around with art my whole life, I really seriously started painting by accident about 3 years ago, and I joined an art group through a class taught by Rob Shaw at Havens Art Gallery, and we meet on Wednesday nights, and one thing led to another. I joined Trenton Art Guild, and I sell through several galleries in North Carolina, Georgia, and here in Columbia. But when you sell your art to someone through a gallery, you get no personal connection. You don't find out where the art's going. And so besides wanting to have that personal connection with where my art goes, I also have built a studio myself in my backyard that I'm very proud of. And so I kind of wanted to show off my studio, and I like to paint paintings that are happy and that people enjoy having in their homes, and I like that personal connection with the purchaser. I have no idea what to expect. I just hope that people will come by. I live across the river in West Columbia. My studio's in my backyard, so I hope that some people will come by and see my work.